Today on the workbench we've got a new project. This is a Athearn Genesis ES44DC, and we are going to be upgrading or changing out the current DCC decoder in this. This has the Tsunami 2 decoder in it, and we're going to be putting in a Loksound 58821. We'll also be putting in scale sound system speakers for this, but I want to take it apart first to make sure that I get the right speakers. So let's get this thing started here. These do have a lot of detail on them. Those sunshades are always kind of tricky up front there. Let me zoom out a little bit here. But I'm going to go ahead and pull the couplers off, front and rear. And get this rear one off. And there's nothing wrong with this locomotive. It runs perfectly fine. But this gentleman wants a Loksound decoder in it. So we will be changing it out for him. Let's see. I think, yep, right here we've got a screw here for the body. Magnetized screwdrivers sure are handy, and that may be the only other one we have. Let me nope, there must be another one. There it is. I just didn't look hard enough. So that screw is going to be a pain. So we'll pop that off, and this one is wired up. So well, I got to find that screw that I dropped down in there now. But anyway, let me get my cradle out of the way. And I believe this is going to be like that AC ES44 AC, or that, yeah. I just did one a couple of weeks ago that was similar. Well, no, it's not similar. This one has the round speaker, so I will have to order a different speaker for this one. Yeah, no biggie. There's that screw that I dropped in there. Get that out of there. So, all right. Now that I know what I'm looking at, I'm not going to change anything yet. I want to get the speakers in, and yeah, then we'll go from there. Alright, so I just ordered up the speaker for this, but I'm going to go ahead and start on the installation. So I'm going to go ahead and start pulling these little plastic clips off. Of course, this one's for the speakers. Actually, wait a minute, the first thing I want to do, Now, speaker wire, speaker wire. Make sure here, the only ones I'm really concerned about are the lights. So I may leave this hooked up. Get that out of the way. My track pickups I'm not too concerned with. They're easy to So there's all my track pickups out of the way. That's no biggie. Of course, this rear light's nothing too. It's just, there's just one light in the rear. Well, and this one has, looks like it has bulbs in it instead of LEDs. So there's that. I'll pull these motor wires off. Okay, so let's set this off to the side. Boy, that thing is nose heavy. Oh, it's got a weight up there in the front, that's why. Alright. Anyway. So we've got that, and that does not fit. Well, it fits, but it's awkward. Push that back down. Okay. Yeah, that's a little loose, but we can deal with that. That's the front. For right now, throw some of this stuff away. I don't keep these little clips because I solder everything back together. So, motor, I'll be able to shorten those wires up a little bit. I'm gonna hook the motor up in a set of these track pickups. That way I can see where I need to go. See if we got the direction right. And then we'll go from there. So this should be the motor negative. And we'll just start with our flux and 10 strip wires and keep going. It's really all this is just repetitive. I will take and go ahead, put some flux on these. Then we can tin this up. Okay. Go ahead and flux and tin this motor, leads, pads, whatever you want to call them. Well, come on. Wanted to try and keep that at, let's do this. We'll just make this simple. Can't get any simpler than that. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and remove this speaker. Actually, I don't need to take it off that way. Pull this one screw out down here. And, well, that off. Pull that off. There's our speaker out. If I'd have removed the tape, so there's our speaker out. Of course, you can hear my AC in the back again today. It's 90 some degrees outside. Miserable. So we'll put a little flux here. Now we'll trim these down a little bit. Make sure I got them the way I want them. Well, I'm just having all kind of problems here today. Okay. Started off a little rocky there, but it worked out. Speaker off. Now I'm going to leave these long because I'm not sure how much I'm going to need. Well, it's not going to be any more than this. So let me cut these down a little bit. Yeah, I'm going to cut about 3.5 inches or 4 inches of wire off of these front pickups. So that'll make things much easier. Okay. Clean that tip off a little bit. Okay. So now I can test this thing out. I need a better way to mount that board down. So I'll figure that out in a minute. Let me take this weight back off. Put this up on the test track. Oh, well, I don't have my decoder in it. So I gotta wait till that program's up. So I'll take a little break. Okay, we're back here. I did test out the decoder. The motor is wired up correctly. So now I'm going to go ahead and hook up this rear light. I'm going to have to get my magnifier there. Okay. No, I'm not. I thought I was going to have to because I couldn't read. There's a BL written right there. For the function wires on those lights. That was the function side, or the negative. and this is the positive side. So I'm not going to fool with that one up there yet. These are bulbs, and I believe they're 12 volt. So I want to test this. There is a resistor on there, but yeah, I just want to test and see if this is going to work. Well, I know it'll work. I'll get it to work, but I may end up having to change or put in a jumper on this pad right here to bypass that resistor to get enough voltage for the lights. But I'm going to try this out first. Okay, so the rear lights work. Now we're going to go and we're going to work on this front headlight. And then of course the only other thing we have is ditch lights. So but just so I don't mess up anything, I'm going to do them separately, basically. Now all the positives are tied together, so that's fine. I'm taking get that all fluxed and tinned, and then trim that off. Okay, and then we'll do the same with our function side for the headlight. So I've got that. This is the common side, or the positive, and then that's the function for the headlight, or the negative side. I'll hook that up last. Cut this down a little bit, trim it off. That should slip right through that hole. Yep. So there's all my positives hooked up. Trim this one down. Put a little more flux on that just because. Okay. I'm going to shrink that a little bit. Okay. Now we've got our ditch lights, and we'll do them one at a time. So they've got this one on F8. Of course, it really doesn't matter which one it's on. That. Okay, trim that down some. I think somebody's had this apart before. A lot of loose stuff on it. Well, I'm getting to the point where I gotta have my magnifiers on for everything, so I can't see. Aux 2, 3, and 4. So I'm going to use 3 and 4 for these lights. So that's this one and this one. And we'll just have to figure this out in our programming. So we'll get this one fluxed. That cut down a little bit. All right. And then get that on there. So there's all our lights on this one hooked up. The only thing we're waiting on is the speaker, which that'll be here in a few days. So I'm just going to kind of wrap this thing up here, put it back together. And I'll try it out. Just to see what we have. Oh, after all that, forgot to attach the decoder. Not too worried about the wires right now. We'll get all that together in a little bit. Alright, so we're back on this ES44DC. We got our scale sound system speaker in. This is the, if you look it up, it's under the Athearn Genesis ES44. It's an AHGS ES44-RC1. So, and it just basically mounts in here. We'll remember to keep the hole for the body mount open, I went ahead and soldered my leads to it, and I've already went ahead and put the double-sided tape on it just to kind of get it ahead of the game. So I'm going to pull my tape off, and then we'll get this other side. Okay. Remember, we left all this stuff a little bit on the long side. I may end up having to go back to trim it off, but I'm going to make sure that I'm not hitting anything. Okay, so that looks good. We'll go ahead and run these. Let me slide this over some. Go ahead and run them through this heat shrink. That'll keep that neater. I'll run both of them through here. So I'm going to go with this one here, and we'll trim it down some. Go ahead and strip it. We'll get our flux, and I'll go ahead and put the flux on those. Get all this stuff tinned up. Okay. There's one. Now we've got one more we can cut down a little bit. Oop. Dragging everything over in front of myself here. Get our other speaker wire. Okay. So we're all good with that. We've got to leave those a little bit long. Leave all that a little bit long. And yeah, we'll get that all tucked in nice and neat. And the next time you see it, it will be up on the test track. So I'll be back. All right, we've got this project completed. Got it up on the test track here, and we'll take and go through the lighting functions before we start it up. So of course it's got the headlight, and then it's got the ditch lights, and besides those two and the rear headlight, that's all the lighting functions that are on this locomotive. So let's go ahead and we'll start it up. And then of course we've got our horn. And you can hear the bell there. This was a rather simple install, not a lot to it. Of course we've got the scale sound system speakers in it. And I'll put the sound file in the description that I used for this one. But yeah, I think this came out pretty nice. Let me get it moving here. That's speed step 2. Then we'll step it on up at speed step 3. Turn this around. You'll be able to see the rear headlight when I put it in reverse. So there's our rear light. We'll go ahead and back it up. So this is a nice little project. Runs really well. Sorry about the shaky camera. Yeah, that one's complete, so thanks for watching.